Who would you say are some of your, top picks for Tulsa? Like, who do we need to go see?
Well, let's see. She got a soul, sweat on myself. Keep up session ain't place behind. But she grew up by the Waco Trader. We were raised down elbow sides. When the darkness comes and she wants to feel free, right across town and stays on the street. I don't need to worry, don't hesitate. Cause soon we'll be sneaking right out of the door. Closing time, so hang in the corner. Yeah, that's the way you can get your sneaking back. See someone there, someone will chase her. Any alley she decides to go down. When I'm in up, she said on the floor. One, it's a day, and the two, it's a fall. I don't need to worry, don't hesitate. Cause soon we'll be sneaking right out of the door here to bit. She's unlike any girl you might have seen before. I got to move and get that candy, like a hoodie in a corner store. When I made drop, she said on the floor. The one, it's a three, and the two, it's a four. I don't need to worry, go hesitate. Cause soon we'll be sneaking right out of the door.
welcome to the Tulsa Tempo podcast. My name is Amy Elizabeth, and I'm your hostess. We're coming to you from the beautiful Blue Couch Studios, which is located right across the street from the legendary Church Studios, right here on Studio Row in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today, our guest, we have a very, very special guest, which kind of like needs no introduction. He's kind of a staple in the Tulsa music scene. He's a guitarist, he's a band leader, and he's definitely one of the ambassadors of the Tulsa music scene. We'd like to welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Benjaman. So thank you for coming on the show. It's so good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So how's everything been? You've been a very, very busy guy.
I've been very lucky. Yeah, there have been some good things happen.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things this year, which I'm always impressed by, is your Sunday Nite Thing. That's been going for 14 years. So what's the secret? What's the secret sauce in that, man?
The secret sauce that keeps it fresh is every week we have a different special guest. And that could be a musician from around the Oklahoma area that comes in. And it's just no rehearsal. It's just I lean over to them. We do easy Tulsa style tunes, and I let them know what key it's in, and we just kind of take off, and then they get to interpret it however they want. We kind of play it to their direction, and so it makes every time we play that song a different event, and so it stayed fresh for 14 plus years.
Yeah.
We've also had some touring artists come in and do it. Ian Moore was a special guest once. Marcus King,
yeah,
when he was coming up, he was a special guest, and it's just been a really cool.
Yeah. And it's not always another guitar player that you have either. You know, you've had a keyboard player. You know, you had Tony Spatz with the fiddle. That was that was still one of my favorites. God, that was a good night.
Yeah.
You know, and then just recently you had Tori Ruffin, who, in my opinion, y'all have just such different playing styles. You know, so to watch that blend, you know, that was a beautiful thing to see. That was a really, really good show. So
yeah,
I think that's really great,
cool.
you know, that everybody just, and then you get some of these local heavy hitters and you just turn them loose, man. You know?
Yeah,
and it's
try
a
to make
good
it
time.
eclectic. Sometimes, you know, on the odd occasion we'll do double drums, and you know, it's really
it's
a
good thing.
fun.
And you've been at the Colony consistently, you know, have not changed spots or anything. So I think that's just so cool.
Yeah,
It's just so cool.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
cool
glad
to be in that
we have
historic
that.
spot that's been a music venue since the late '60s. Yeah.
And you got your picture on the wall over there, which is very cool.
I know.
Yeah, like right when you walk in, there's Paul. You know?
Yeah, hanging up with all the other dead people.
Yeah.
There you go.
So speaking of the Tulsa community, you've been a teacher instructor, I don't know what to call y'all, over at Guitar House for a long time.
Long time. I started over at the Old Admiral location when Bob Long owned it, you know, and I was moving around. You know, I'd always lived in Northeast Oklahoma the whole time. I'd spent some time out in Tahlequah, and I was coming to live in Tulsa, and I heard that he had an open teaching spot, and I came in, and he, you know, says in his deep voice, "Well, do you know anything about reading the black dots?" And I said, yes. And that was it. All I had to do was say yes. And so, you know, you get your method book for whatever anybody's wanting to learn. You stay one chapter ahead of them, and that's kind of built out from there. And so it's been from Bob Long. He passed it on to Todd Cook, and then Todd Cook to Andrew Wynn. And so it's been a fabulous run, and a lot of great relationships made.
That's great. You've actually taught some of the people that are on the scene now. One of them, most notably to me, was Chris Combs. He said that you were his guitar teacher.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's been really cool, the relationships that have been made, and over the years, and some professional players around the scene and things like that. I still have some on my schedule come in from time to time, and yeah, so it's always a good thing just to kind of sit down. And the private lesson is we go at your speed, and we just kind of talk about concepts and things that are possible. And I think of it less of me being a guitar teacher than me more just being like a tour guide. Well, this is a place we can go. We can look at this, you know.
How
Do you
cool.
like this? Okay, well then we'll go over here, and yeah, you know.
How cool. How many days a week do you teach over there?
I'm there 3 days now.
Wow. Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it flexes. Like there was sometimes early on that I was doing 6 days a week, I think, and had 55 students, something like that. That's where I topped out. Not, when I was, yeah.
Wow. So how many do you have on your roster now?
Right now, it's much more relaxed. I think I'm hanging around 37, something like that.
That's still a pretty good number, though. That's awesome. So how cool, though? The history. You've been there it's so long, and that guitar house is just, you walk in there, and it's just like, wow.
It's been great. When Drew Wynn bought the store, he was a vintage guitar trader and dealer. So that kind of changed the focus of the store. And it's now probably the most amazing guitar store on the planet. It really is. I've been to a lot of the more ones that, I don't know, may or may not have bigger names or something like that, and all the stores out in Nashville, but nothing really compares. I used to say you'd have to drive 500 miles to find something comparable, which is true, but I mean, it's still the most fabulous place.
So what is the one that he just sold you? Because I remember you telling the story at the VFW, and you were looking at it, and you're playing it, and you said, "I'm just watching money fly."
Yeah.
I'm playing that thing. I'm just watching the money fly. So what kind of guitar is that? Because that's a beauty.
Yeah, that was a Music Man St. Vincent guitar.
Yes.
And Jamie at the store, she basically sold it to me. She said, "It used to belong to me. I'm selling it back to the store. This needs a good home, and you probably need to buy it." And I said I wasn't interested in the least, but it has Tulsa ties because St. Vincent was born in Tulsa. And she designed a really, really good guitar. As soon as I played it, I just immediately fell in love with it.
Watch that money fly.
So it's just like, that's the way it works.
Yeah, and it sounds great. I've seen you play with that a few times now when I've been out to see you play, and boy, that's a good sounding guitar.
Yeah, to paraphrase Frank Zappa, he says, sometimes you pick up a guitar and it just says, "I'm yours."
Yep.
And you have to do whatever it is to get it.
And I have another friend that when you play your Les Paul, your 1991, the black one, when you picked that at the gig that we were at when we saw it, when you introduced your new guitar, you also had that one with you.
Yeah.
And my friend that I was sitting with, he's like, "Oh, look, Paul's playing the Paul."
Yeah.
So that's like a running joke now. So when we walk in and whatever you're playing, I'm like, "Oh, look, Paul's playing the Paul."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yep."
Yeah.
Or Paul's playing the Saint tonight.
I'd gotten that Les Paul because Leon Russell had one very, very similar to it, same model that he played live, and I'd done enough Leon Russell tributes that I just wanted to rescued it from a pawn shop. Yeah. So what we're talking about for the podcasters is this is a cabinet that was originally made for organs. It's typically the Leslie cabinet. So anytime you hear this swirly sound, it's actually some moving parts inside a cabinet that's just kind of waving the sound around. And so Steve Pryor bought one, and he converted it into a chop top. He took the high rotating horns that are normally for organ out and just left the low part, the low speaker. There's a 15-inch speaker pointing down into this rotating cylinder, and that just kind of spreads the sound around. And it's the whole reason anybody buys like a modulation or a chorus pedal or something like that. They're trying to emulate this swirling kind of organ sound that you've heard all the time. So it sounds great when guitars, you can hear it on certain Beatles albums. They were experimenting with it, and certain Clapton albums and stuff like that from the late 60s was the time when you can hear guitar through whirly cabinets. And so Steve had one. I inherited it. And Steve's ghost still lives in there because every once in a while I'll be right in the middle of the show and it'll be doing its thing. And there's nothing but, my guitar amp into it, and it going this little wire straight to the speaker. And even though that's a simple enough setup, sometimes it just goes, "Nope, not going to work," and just cuts out. And there's nothing you can do to revive it for the rest of the gig. And then at the next gig, you'll plug it in. It'll be fine. You don't know what changed. Yeah.
So he's still testing you.
He did it once to me at a blues festival, because I was in my moment. I was actually playing one of his songs. I was way out the edge of this outdoor stage in the middle of Oklahoma City, in this moment of glory, way, 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 way from all my rig, any of my switches, anything fancy like that, and you're at the edge of the stage, and you're just trying to rock the people on this solo of glory, and just right in the middle of it, it just goes, and nothing. You're still strumming, you're still picking, trying to look cool. Nothing.
Not happening.
Yeah. Had to quickly run back to the whole rig and make some quick switches and finish the song. Luckily, the drums didn't stop. I was just like, yeah, keep going. I'm going to figure this out. Yeah. Wait till it comes around.
Yeah, that's a great story, and there's so much history to it, you know. And I love that. I love that he still kind of hangs out and tests you a little bit. I mean, you're such, I would say, like such an ambassador, you know, of the Tulsa Sound. So, do you think, you know, think back to like when you were coming up here until present day, has your taste in music style changed, or has it affected the way you play? You know, like put out new music, but you want to stick to that Oklahoma sound, that Tulsa sound as well. You know, how do you balance that?
It's a tough balance because just like all musicians, you know, all musicians, you tend to listen to all kinds of things, you know, and I still have influences from like all over the map. In fact, this last record just, you know, I figure it was like the kind of the widest reaching. There were all kinds of different things that I was trying to do on that record. It was such kind of like just a cornucopia of different ideas, which I guess, you know, some people like, and then some people don't think, you know, they go, well, maybe it's not as cohesive as it should be. So you hear it from both ends. But when I started the band, it was kind of this thought. I did have this theory that I was running with that, and it was at a particular time when rock radio was really starting to sound homogenous and things, you know. And I said, well, here's all these rock bands coming on, and you know they're playing around, or the new videos are coming out, and I can't tell if this band is from Columbus, Ohio, or if it's from, you know, Southern California or anything like that. And there was a time, and there still is a time, that people talk about from an educational standpoint. They talk about the Memphis sound, and they talk about the Nashville sound. And there used to be this time where things were regional. And so when I started the Paul Benjaman Band, it was kind of this experiment into, right, let's build it on the base of stuff that came out from around here, and see where it goes. Yeah, that kind of thing. And so I'm still going to try to maybe stick to that.
But you still have all these influences. I mean, I hear it, you know, in a lot of songs that you play. You know, like you do. What's that one that I love by "Can't Find My Way Home"?
Oh yeah,
my God.
That was Steve Pryor's cover of, you know, and that's the thing you even get into is even within the Tulsa scene, there's just this whole hodgepodge. You know, there's really. When you talk about even the basics of the Tulsa sound, the two names come up first, Leon Russell and J.J. Cale. And those guys were buddies, and they played together, and you could see video of them. And that's really where the Tulsa sound is these guys just kind of blending everything together. But as far as albums, you know, they couldn't be any farther apart. You know, J.J. Cale's being so low production and lo-fi, and then Leon basically taking jazz concepts and turning them into rock and roll operettas and these great things. So it's even within that kind of scene. And then the rhythm sections have always been kind of traditionally laid back and things. And then by the turn of the 80s, well, then here comes Steve Pryor, and he's high volume and this whole other thing that So kind of ringing it all into something. It's really eclectic before you even, you know, just say, okay, I'm doing this. You know.
All right, just like every Sunday, there's absolutely no rehearsal for Sunday Nite Thing. We get together with a special guest and just throw these songs at them and see how we do. And this will be 13 years of this gig, of finding willing victims to sit in on this thing. Undercover one night, remote through the shadows. Undercover one night, say hidden life. way on the sand, watching how we sing. The covering that low profile on the covering that scrapes the style. I die for another dream to discover on the cover of night. 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 On the cover of.
So I wanted to talk about, too, everything that you've been doing this year. I mean, you have been so busy. You have new album come out, Bad Sign Once Good Time. Great album. Did that came out in 2025, right? Yeah, this year.
It actually came out in 24, but
when was it? When I'm trying to think when when was the debut of that?
It was in May of 24. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
It's been that long.
Yeah. But
Jesus.
it's been like things have moved so fast that I still think like, you know, I still call it the new album because it's my latest, and then I have to think about it. Wow, you know what? That's actually
because I
a
was
little bit
thinking
over
May
a
of
year
this year
since that thing came out. So
yeah, because I remember the album premiere show at the VFW, which was really good. You got it all decorated in the red, white, and blue, and it was like all 70s, like it was so cool.
Yeah.
And then so you've been on tour. It's been on. Oh, talk about it being on Outlaw Radio.
Oh, it got, yeah, that's right. It got some airplay this year on numerous radio stations, and then on the XM radio station, Outlaw Country.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that gave it some good
It
wheels.
gave some spins and
Yeah.
things like that. The cool thing about the Tulsa scene is there's a good fan base, and so a lot of times I don't know these things. But people that I know will send me text or something like that, and then I got a lot of text of people's dashboards when they come on. Pull over to the side, take a snap of it, like, okay, here's your team.
Paulie, you're on the radio.
Yeah, yeah. So that's often how I get my metrics, because anytime you're in the paper or any kind of publication or something like that, they don't send you a message. Even if they give you an interview or something like that, you don't know if it's coming out or how much of it or anything like that. So. It's
and
really,
didn't you have a billboard in Tulsa
really
at one
cool.
point?
I rely on I had a billboard series for a while through the Hard Rock Casino.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was one of those people from my high school that I hadn't talked to in a long time. They contacted me and said, "Yeah, we saw you in a billboard inside the highway," and I thought they were lying. I had no idea.
And there you were.
That the Hard Rock would run, an ad campaign with my photo. But that's
cool.
what they did.
Yeah. So who did you collaborate with on this record, on that album? Because it's not a bad song on it. It's really good.
I write all the songs. So as far as artistic direction and the whole thing and everything like that, I've been a band leader so long that people just kind of look to me. If it's a collaboration, it's mostly me trying out. I like to try out the tunes live with the band. And there were a couple that made it on there actually for the first time that I didn't try out live first. But most of them, I try to just kind of get them in some operating format and stick them in the middle of the set, see how the crowd reacts, see how the band reacts, see if they like it, and then
nice. And this is Horton produced again. All of
like
yours
that.
have been Horton.
They've been on the little nonprofit label, Horton Records.
Yeah. And I know we've talked about it before. How he's just he's kind of like a hands-off kind of guy. He just lets you go. And just do your thing. And I think that's just great. There's no paperwork involved or anything like that. He just says do your stuff.
It's all a handshake deal.
Yeah. And I think that's what probably makes the stuff he releases so good.
He doesn't collect any money off of the sales or anything like that. He does it out just straight up out of the goodness of his heart. And as soon as you pay back the initial investment that you spent, on the studio time and the production of the album, then it's all yours. It's all just pure profit.
That's so great, and he's been doing that for years, and he's put out some really, really. Horton Records has got a really great roster.
I was one of the two first albums that got him started.
Really? Was it Back to Paradise? Which one? What was your first one on Horton?
The first one was Something, which came out in 2010. And he started working with me on it about 2008.
Nice.
2009, yeah.
Wow, that's so great. That's so awesome. So, you've done a lot of collaborations this year, and you've been on tour all over. I've seen you play, except overseas.
It's been a good year. I was able to do 4 countries this year. I did.
Talk about that.
Netherlands, France, the UK, and Spain.
Yeah, man.
So it's been a really good year of growth.
Yeah. So what was that? Was this your first time to Spain?
Yes, it was my first time in Spain. Yeah.
So how was that? Like, did you have?
It was really cool. One of those days I'm checking. Oddly enough, of all things, my Facebook Messenger inbox, where all the junk mail goes, everything like that, the message requests folder, as it's called. And buried under a bunch of junk was these guys. They said, hey, we got this tour of Spain. Would you be interested in doing it? I said, there's no way this could possibly be legit. But I looked at a few pages and I'm like, no, it seems like a real thing. I don't know. And it worked out great.
Nice. And when you were in France, you were on the same bill with Johnny Molinax, or Johnny was on the same bill with you for a couple dates, right? No, you just happened to be there at the same time.
That was the UK.
That was in the UK.
In August. Yeah. We were on. We were on 3. We did 3 dates over there, and we shared the show on 2 of the dates, and then we had a blues festival, and he had a set and had me on it, and then I had a set and had him on it.
Nice.
At the Great British Rhythm and Blues Festival in Colne, Lancashire.
How fun.
UK.
Well, I remember seeing Johnny when he came back from that tour.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at the bluegrass brunch that he does over at the Merc on Sundays, and I was standing outside talking to his dad. And all of a sudden I hear this riff, and it's your riff. I've heard it before. And I looked at his dad, and I'm like, hey, I know that riff. And he goes, I was wondering if you were going to catch that. He said, because after Johnny has spent some time with you, overseas, that he was kind of, blending in, some little Paul Benjaman riffs into his show. And nice. He said the first time he heard him do it, he said, I hope, he said, I hope that, he goes, I'm wondering when Amy sees this, if she's going to pick it up, he's like, I was wondering if you were going to catch cool. that. Yeah. But, John is he's definitely his own, type of player. He just gets better every time I see him.
Yeah.
So that must have been just
Johnny's band was the backing band for both sets. So
nice.
He backed me up, and then
so you had Andrew Bear and who was on drums?
Luke Calloway.
Okay, and then did you have the fiddle player? Did he go?
And then Paul Wilkes, and we didn't for the UK run have a fiddle player.
Okay, but that's a pretty hot band.
Yeah,
that's good.
Really, really
yeah,
good.
Andrew, and I like Andrew Bear on keys. You've had him as a guest on your Sunday Nite Thing. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
He's a good musician. He's a good album mixer and producer. And, recording.
An organizer.
Yep.
Yeah, he's very talented. Well, you've been on the Tulsa music scene for a while, and as you have seen, it's always evolving. There's always, some new music. I mean, every night of the week you can go somewhere and see the show that have the time of your life, and hear music that you've never heard before played very, very well. So who would you say are some of your, top picks for Tulsa? Like, who do we need to go see?
Well, let's see. The Jim Bachman show's really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he covers a couple of your songs.
He's got a really good, laid back, thing going. And he was a musician and toured in Arizona for quite a while and still does. Mm-hmm. So that's good. Anything that guitarist Nate Bellotti is a part of is really good. He's a really talented picker. And so
yes, he is.
To see. And then another Oklahoma artist, Ramsey Thornton, he's coming through and doing quite a few shows around. And
nice.
It's good. And then, of course, Chapon Tiger, who has been around, but still, as far as Tulsa, he's still relatively new as far as these things kind of go. And,
well, he's good. I like Chapon.
Chapon Tiger show is
I know Patty
great.
always says, I think I got a tiger on my tail. Every time he shows up at the gig, he's like, I think there's a tiger on my tail.
Yeah.
And Chapon will be sitting outside.
Yeah.
That cracks me up. So with the kind of year that you've had, you kind of touched a little bit, on what you're going to do in 2026, with the tour. You got anything else in the hopper? Are you looking at making another album anytime soon, or are you just going to kind of?
Yeah, it's at the cycle right now. It's time to start finishing songs for the new record.
You have any in the hopper?
Get all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some things that I've been testing out.
Oh, good.
And then some things in the garage, I always worked on cars when I was in high school and things like that. So that's kind of how I view music, really. And I came from not a family of musicians, but a family of engineers. So I always just think about, each new song being a hot rod. You try to put it together however you can, and as soon as you could possibly get it on the track, you put it out there in whatever shape it's in and see if it doesn't explode around turn number 3 or something like that, or nobody likes it, and then you go, okay. And then sometimes if you don't feel all right about it, it's like, well, yep, put it back in the garage. We'll work on it when we get to it, and put it back,
Yeah. Eventually you'll get it tuned up enough.
Put that one back in the corner in the garage. We don't know about that one, but it didn't turn out, but yeah. So.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm really glad that we were able to find the time. We've been trying to hook this up for a while. I think a lot of you know that Paul was our very first guest on the Tulsa Tempo podcast. We didn't even have a space. We did it over at the Colony and you were kind enough to come over there. Remember that with Ronnie
Oh,
and
yeah.
Dustin?
Ronnie
That
and
was
Dustin,
our very,
yeah.
very first show. We wanted to do an anniversary show, but he happened to be on tour, so we had to wait a few months. And so thank you for coming over and taking the time today to visit with us. It was just such a pleasure having you on the show. I'm such a big fan, as you well know. So thanks again.
And thanks for having me. It's cool.
Be sure and pick up a complimentary foil hat on your way out. You get it for coming to the show.
She got the thing, she got the thing, she got the thing grabbing on to me. Dancing at the table with the downtown hall, singing let go my only chain. I got the notebook, I got the number, I got the number, and it's 20 on 30. Some numbers don't never amount to nothing. Let go my only chain. Yeah. Soft left, non-break, all the things she been doing to me. Now it flies in the nighttime cries, hey, let go, ball and chain. It's getting out the dates, getting never hanging on my feet, and it's spinning my head. Looking over my shoulder, my cup running over. Let go, ball and chain. All right. Out on the trail, sisters and brothers, they got the people for another. Running through the club on a slow-mo tip. Let go my own chain. Sell it one for rivers whenever. Let go my own chain. Let go my own chain. Let go my own chain.